A leader stands before the nation, only to be turned aside. Another rises in his place. With every choice, America writes her chapter anew. Today, our country faces such a choice. President Trump has removed Secretary Kristi Noem from the head of Homeland Security. In her stead, Senator Markwayne Mullin is called to take up the charge, if the Senate approves. This is not a moment only for politicians or policy men. It is a moment that touches every American household. It tests how we keep our nation both safe and free. Picture a city at sunrise, streets quiet, lamplights fading, families beginning their day. Then news breaks. DHS is under new command. Enforcement will change. Uncertainty spreads. But is changing a leader enough to solve the problem, or do the true questions run deeper? Let us lay out what has happened, clear and plain. Kristi Noem, once trusted to keep order at our borders and peace within our nation, stood before Congress and the people. In harsh light, she answered for a record year of removals, 600,000 deported in 1 year, more agents sent into our cities, raids reaching even the quietest towns. For some, it was order at last. For others, fear by another name. A tragedy then brought the nation's gaze. 2 U.S. citizens lost their lives during a DHS operation in Minneapolis. Congress, Democrats and Republicans alike, demanded answers. Civil rights, they said, may have been swept aside. The Inspector General declared oversight was blocked. Funds for the department fell into dispute as old leaders left. Confusion deepened. Why, then, did the president act now? Was it from public need, political fear, or the call of justice? He says the good of the nation requires a change. Ms. Noem is to take a new post, special envoy for a Western Shield. But is this a high honor or just a soft departure? The country watches as Markwayne Mullin stands in waiting. He is known for loyalty to the president, to his party, to an America First plan. Yet some in the Senate question, does he hold the knowledge a complex post demands? Is the mission now justice, order, or something in between? Imagine a courthouse in morning sun. Senators gather, voices hushed yet firm. Debate swells, some hopeful, some cautious, some anxious for what the new leader will bring. If the problem is only the person at the top, a new face may bring relief. But what if the trouble lies deeper, in how we balance our laws, our safety, and our conscience? Let us look further and confront what is at stake for the Republic. A nation is not kept safe by iron alone. The laws must serve the people, not only the powerful. Civil rights, once tarnished, are not easily restored. When Congress asks questions, when citizens mourn, when oversight is denied, the soul of the nation aches for an answer. If the law keeps order, but order brings harm, where does America stand? History has seen this before. Wise nations know even just intent can breed error if not shown with care. The leaders of today are not kings above the law, but stewards of a trust held together by the voice and will of the people. Think of a family at their dinner table, listening as the radio speaks of raids in distant cities, of neighbors swept up without warning, of citizens hurt or lost. Do they feel protected, or do they fear they are next? It is not enough to be strong if we are not also just, nor wise to defend a border at the price of our soul. A leader may act in haste and lose the path. A nation that forgets justice for security may lose both. What makes a leader fit for such a post? Is it loyalty to the office or to the laws? The courage to say enough in the face of frenzy? If leadership sees the law as shield, can loyalty alone guide America's shield? We have seen times when loyalty without virtue cast long shadows. Great nations have faltered when subordinates obeyed without question, and when superiors placed clan above country. Picture an agent standing alone in pre-dawn light, badge in hand, torn between duty and doubt. He wonders if following orders will make him right, or only safe from blame. There is a lesson here. No law alone can secure a nation whose people doubt its justice. Yet what becomes of a nation when its people doubt justice? The answer lies not in law books, nor in sudden changes at the summit, but in the bond between citizen and state. The Republic is strong when trust is strong. Visualize the Senate floor during debate, row upon row, grave faces, the hum of hope and concern. Here, the decision is more than politics. It is a test of trust. Will the People's House lend its voice to a new leader with wisdom and care? Pause to see a small town as the news spreads. Neighbors gather at the post office, the store, the school fence, voices low, eyes searching. Some feel relief, some feel left behind. A republic's strength is unity, not mere force. Each time a leader is changed, the fabric of trust must be rewoven. The measure is not taken in applause or protest, but in whether our laws are honored, and whether all, high or low, feel their rights stand firm. Across America, the question lingers: who truly decides, not just who leads, but how we lead? Is leadership to be a gift given by one man's will, or a mantle worn after careful test by the nation? Picture for a moment a schoolroom in a small town. The flag at the door stirs in the morning breeze. Inside, a teacher pauses before starting the lesson, speaking softly to young faces. She says, "Today we must weigh what it means to be fair and to be safe." That lesson, simple and true, is the same that should guide our government. If every change of command causes fear in the citizen, the people begin to ask, are we governed by wisdom or by sudden winds? What happens to courage when trust breaks down? Even an honest agent, stepping onto a city street, may wonder, will today's order cast a shadow that lives for years? We must remember, no badge, no border, no order from above can make us truly secure unless it is upheld by justice. If the agent in the street doubts the fairness of his own orders, what trust can the parent or the immigrant hold? Yet what becomes of a nation when its agents fear their own justice? Here is where our difficulty deepens. When oversight is blocked, suspicion grows stronger than loyalty. When lawmakers quarrel over funds or block needed inquiry, the law feels less like a shield and more like a club. If citizens watch their government draw lines in the sand and then erase them at will, their faith sours. Imagine then a row of judges seated behind a high bench, listening not only for the letter of the law, but for its deeper meaning. They know that a constitution is not just dry words. It is a pact built in sweat and sacrifice to protect both body and soul. A people are not made safe by raids, nor are they made free by open doors alone. There must be balance, steady hands, honest hearts, and a law ever watched by the public eye. Is this balance possible when fear runs high and hope runs thin? Let us not shy from the truth. Whenever a leader is chosen for loyalty alone, the roots of our republic feel the strain. We may gain the speed of decision, but lose the trust that holds us together. Who then sets the example? If those in power discard debate, fence off dissent, or hide the reasons for their acts, do they not unmake the very law they swore to defend? I think of a quiet town square at sunset. Neighbors gather, reading the latest headlines posted to the old bulletin board. Some voices fret, others urge patience. They all agree on one thing: change is coming, and they will feel its hand. Not all news is black and white. America's strength is her unity. We have a chance even now to remind one another that the greatest threat may not be from beyond, but from within. When faith in fair process wavers, and when we let party or panic silence reason. The errors of the past, internments, panics, abuses, all came when conscience fell before convenience. Leadership is not tested in calm, but in the rough weather of doubt and disagreement. Now that a new name stands before the Senate, the act is not merely to approve or block. The deeper test is whether the citizen, the judge, the agent, and the leader all remember. The law must serve all, not just some. The measure of fitness is not friendship, but faithfulness to the founding promise. A mother waiting at the bus stop with her children prays not for a favor, but for fairness. A police officer pauses at the end of his shift, wondering if the orders of tomorrow will bear the mark of justice or just the will of the strongest. A republic can survive hardship, but only if it answers each crisis with clarity, restraint, and the steady hand of shared purpose. So we ask again, can changing a leader heal what is weak, or do we need to restore the covenant between our people and those who govern? The answer cannot be rushed, nor left to any single office. It must be claimed by citizens, debated by lawmakers, watched by courts, and guarded by all. Let us draw breath then, and move forward, bearing in mind the path is not chosen by one, but by many. The Republic depends not on a flawless leader, but on citizens who remind those in power. Each order, each law, each change must be checked, questioned, and ever aligned to freedom and justice. The test continues, as does the Republic's story. Senators take their seats, the chamber grows quiet. A vote to approve the new secretary stands before them, weighty as stone. Outside, reporters gather, ready to send news into every home. Within, some hearts beat with resolve, others with dread. Picture for a moment a postage worker in a rural town, slipping the morning paper into each box. Neighbors linger by the counter, reading the headline. New Secretary for Homeland Security confirmed. Some nod in approval, others shake their heads. Few speak openly, but everyone feels the weight of the day. A single voice in the gallery calls for order, but the order our nation seeks is far larger than any vote. Retaining hope in times of change is never easy, yet each cycle, each transfer of trust, offers a new chance to prove the soundness of our republic. Will the new leader measure up not just to the task, but to the temperament demanded by liberty? Imagine a group of children at recess, pretending to be leaders and lawmen. They argue, set rules, giggle and scold. They do not know the weight of office, but in their play they reflect a truth. Every rule, even a playground rule, rests on trust. The Republic only stands as strong as those who defend its guardrails, not out of friendship, but fidelity. When leaders recall the spirit, not just the letter of the law, order and liberty find their balance. But what if, once again, oversight is denied, or the needs of security are placed above the rights of the weak? Has the lesson of today changed, or do we risk repeating old faults? This question stirs in every meeting, every council, every humble kitchen or stately office. Visualize a flag at half-mast on a wind-swept green, neighbors silent after tragedy. The cause may pass, the sorrow, never. It is left to us to decide if sacrifice brings wisdom or only more grief. We should remember, America's faith is always tested in affairs both great and small. Once the new secretary takes office, the trials will not end. There will be raids to approve, lives to weigh, budgets to defend, laws to interpret. Will he choose the easy road, the road that pleases the powerful, or will he listen for the still voice of justice, standing with the brave agent who questions a wrongful order, or the family who seeks only a fair hearing? There have been times when our nation faltered. We have seen leaders act in haste when panic gripped the halls and fear silenced reason. Yet we have also witnessed courage, officials resigning rather than obey a wrong, citizens standing up, courts ruling for the meek, not just the mighty. America is not defined by what her leaders do in moments of pride, but by whether her people and institutions recall their founding charge in moments of trial. Picture a town hall bathed in evening light, every seat filled, voices rising in debate. Some plead for strong borders, others demand justice for all, but there is respect, the hush of listening, a spirit that will outlive any office holder. If the new leader forgets this, he risks more than a loss at the next election. He endangers the thread that ties the nation to its promise. The act of government is not to wage war against its own spirit, but to humbly serve. Leadership is a loan, not a throne. A child asleep under the twilight flag, a farmer kneeling in his fields, a nurse working by lamplight, all depend on the steady stewardship of trust. So let us each remember, appointments and removals, votes and headlines are not the true keepers of the Republic. That duty belongs to you, the citizen who questions, the neighbor who cares, the official who speaks when others are silent. The Republic can be saved. America's venture was never meant to be easy, but it was always meant to be noble. The labor is not just at the top, but at every crossroad, every ballot box, every jury bench, every kitchen table. Where do you stand when faced with fear or with sorrow? Will you answer with hope, for liberty, for justice, for your neighbor as for yourself? I leave you with this. What will you demand, not just from your leaders, but from your own conscience? The next time America stands at the edge of such a choice, will you settle for force or will you insist on justice as your guide? America's story is not finished. The pen is in our hands still.